Good morning to you all. My name is Mick Stott for those that don't know me. I thought I'd do a short video on our intention to take things forwards with regards to a system that I've created called Spectrum Transition Coaching. We are now going to be running a number of change programs, and I'll go into those in more detail in a moment. We've currently created a community interest company, that is Vicky and I, my partner. And our first program that we intend to run is going to take place in November. So the idea of this video is to let those know who are attending exactly what they can expect, and also for the uninitiated, you can have an insight as to what makes these programs tick and how we do them. People generally come to this program because they've experienced trauma, they're suffering from depression or anxiety, or they've been given a formal mental health diagnosis such as post-traumatic stress disorder or response, or any neurosis related condition. And generally speaking, the majority of us at some point in our lives are going to experience something that's neurosis related. And so people come to us because of that. And what they want to do is they want to experience some sort of relief from that. So what we do is we run a 4-day change program, and the 4-day change program that we're going to be running in November, we've been kindly offered a building to run this in, which is going to be self-contained in many respects. So thank you to James and Charlotte for providing that. And of course, we're going to gather as a group, and on this particular program we have a number of veterans, we have some civilians on the program, and I don't really even like using those terms, to be honest, because first and foremost we're all human beings, and human beings experience emotion, and for them the emotions can debilitate them to a point where they really can't just enjoy life or find any level of happiness. And so Spectrum Transition Coaching is a system that I created as far back as 2006, as I said, and we've run a lot of research by it. We've been continuously running research by any of the programs that we do. We have missed out in some perspectives because lots of coaches have been using it, and they've been using it in their own rights within their own areas of expertise, but haven't necessarily done their own research. I know that some have, but some haven't. So there is an awful lot of research that supports what we've done. And if we look at the approach itself, people will say, well, what's different about this approach, Mick? Well, the first thing that's different about our approach compared to what's out there is that it's non-trauma focused. There's no requirement to go into any great detail of your trauma. We find that that's not really of any use to the majority of people, because once you have this stuff running in your nervous system, then basically it's in there and it influences what you do. Some guys have locked themselves away for weeks after having to talk about trauma. And so we don't do that. There's no need for any content. We work at the meta level. We're interested in the emotions that you feel and that you've gathered in different areas of your lives, the emotions that need changing. And some people believe that you can't change emotions. And I can totally get my head around that. It's just that that's not our belief. What we've done through using Spectrum Transition Coaching is shown you how you can change them, with the emphasis being on you changing them, not us. We are almost, as coaches, we're almost like tour guides. We just show you where to look. We get you to look, and then you find that only you have your answers. Only you can really heal yourself. Only you can find the answers that help you get well. And the idea of Spectrum Transition Coaching is that it changes your relationship with your past. When I introduced performance coaching to the British Army at initial training group through some introductions that I made, we found that performance coaching worked for about 60% of the people that we used it with, but it didn't work for the other 40%, because the other 40% had experienced trauma, either from childhood or different parts of their past, different areas of life, which we call themes. Once you change your relationship with those themes, then performance coaching can take you into the future. So Spectrum Transition Coaching deals with the emotion. It allows you to recognize that Once you change this, you no longer have to define yourself by your past. You can use your past to learn from and grow to achieve the future that you're looking for. One of the spin-offs from this, once you find all of your own answers on the inside, is that you become more emotionally clear in your nervous system, and generally speaking, your body will respond to that effectively. And we've had numerous clients that have experienced spectrum that have become physically well as a result of becoming emotionally well. We also help people come off medication if that's one of their desires as part of the program. We only do this through the assistance of GPs, psychiatrists, or mental health teams. I personally have collaborated with a number of those, because a lot of the GPs out there are not happy with you being on medication for the rest of your life. But equally, the conundrum is that whilst you're very, very emotional, you have emotion in your nervous system, coming off medication can often be problematic. So we don't just help veterans, even though the CIC that we've set up is called It's All About the Tom, which is mainly a veteran focus, because veterans are married to wives, and they have children, and so we help all of these component parts of any family, which sounds a little bit sort of formal, doesn't it? But essentially, if we create great ripples within a family, they have relatives, and all those ripples just spread. So, I know that I've helped thousands of veterans, and can't even contemplate that the kinds of ripples that we've created within those families themselves. There's nothing nicer than helping one person within a family, and then a lot of people become happy because of the one person that you've helped. So we do help everyone across the board wherever we can. Generally speaking, what would happen when someone comes on one of our programs is that they can expect to be in a group setting initially, but only so that people can start to realise that the way they've responded to trauma is normal. They've had a normal reaction, having had some very abnormal situations occur in their lives. We don't really expect anyone to share their detail at this point, because people say it's good to talk. My experience is that it's only good to talk if the conversation is cathartic, if you're finding answers. And of course, quite often, these conversations at this point are based on where you are at that moment emotionally. So we think it's great to talk when you've done the change work, if you want to talk. So it's a very private experience when it comes to the one-to-one, because the one-to-one is about you experiencing personal emotional change from the things that are holding you back emotionally, and this is where the transition takes place. There's also, as part of this program, we also train you how your mind works. We train you to reflect on how you individually work, being a completely unique human being, and what that equals in your world when you change. And once you've done this change, then what we do is we get you to recognise that this change applies to those areas of your life. Because one of the unique things about spectrum transition coaching is that once we've got a baseline of where you're at emotionally, and the emotions that have influenced your life, such as anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, and anxiety, we then come up with a plan for you to change personally. And it might be that as part of that change, you want to share some of your change experience with the group that you're going to be changing with, which can often help other people have greater understanding of their world and their experience. And all of that then just equals quite a significant change process that can be shared or can be individualized depending on your natural style. Some people like to talk outside, some people like to learn inside. And so once you've done that, the net result of that is that you experience a change in relationship from the things that have been holding you back, so that you can then go into the kind of future that you're looking for. And that might just be as simple as wanting to be more happy, wanting to have greater relationships with people, wanting to be more open, wanting to be more caring. It could be any number of things that are relative to your experience. So that's generally the net result of attending one of our 4-day programs. And from that point, you then become part of a community where you can share your experience, and you can feel that you have a connection to a group of people as you go forwards, and we do that via our Facebook group, or whatever means we decide to do. Initially, sometimes it's part of a little WhatsApp group where you can get some support and just communicate with each other until you get to a point where you feel that you're stood on your own 2 feet. Our aim really is to get people to stand on their own 2 feet as quickly as possible. And our aim is also to get you to realise that actually you can do that, and that when you do that, then talking to other people just allows you to create that social network of support that supports your own individual change, which is going to be a very positive thing. And so I'm going to invite you to share this video with anyone that wants to come or is interested in change, or if you want to develop your skills as a coach and you want to come on one of the programs as a coach, we're also happy to facilitate that as and when. Of course, none of these things happen without an investment of money. We're going to invite you to support the CIC. Every penny that you put towards this, our admin is minimal. The pennies that you put towards this, I can assure you the majority is going to go to the actual treatment interface with those that attend the programs, as opposed to some of the other charities where admin and all of the other costs associated with running what is a significant business can account for an awful lot of the donations that are made. We are very mindful that the majority of the money that gets ploughed into the CIC is going to go at the actual interface of treatment that is effective for getting people back on their feet and moving forwards in life. And we'll certainly be transparent about that. You'll be able to see where all of that is going, and that will be real time, so you'll know exactly and have access to all of that as part of this. So please support us where you can. If you've been with us before, you'll know just how effective Spectrum is. If you've used Spectrum, you'll be intimate with how effective it is personally, and possibly in how you've used it as a coach. If you are already an existing coach and you want to engage with us again just to see what we're doing and how we're evolving, then that's fantastic, because we have got a number of new products that we're using, and it would be great just to re-establish connections with you guys as well. I look forward to sharing experience with the guys that are going to be on the forthcoming course in November and helping you move forwards, and equally with the broader Spectrum community, so that we can keep the good work going and make a difference where it's needed.